Hello, fantasy owners, for another edition of the Fantasy Sports News and World Report. It is football. Yes, we're back, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things here. We're talking about running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, and lockout. But let's say this. You've been probably going to the stores and got all these crazy magazines here. Forget them. They're useless because technically, thanks to the lockout, these things are predated and totally with useless information. So that's why I got two gentlemen here who love football with a passion. Yes. We have Mike Richman. He's the host of Burgundy and Gold magazine and the official Redskin historian. You can learn more information at redskinhistorian.com. Welcome back, Mike.
Hey, Brian.
And we got Will Let's Talk. He's back, and you have a new show, I hear.
Yes, the Hollywood Hangout.
Okay, now what do you do there?
I'm the sports anchor on a variety show
on
gogoradio.com.
All right, cool. Well, let's really get into football. So we got a lot to talk about. I want to get your guys' opinion. Now that the lockout's over, we've had our preseason, we're going into regular season. How do you feel, and let's start with you, how do you feel this post-lockout vibe is right now?
I think it's going to be different this year because a lot of teams had to prepare differently. They didn't get a chance to play the OTAs early into the year. You're going to have a lot of teams having problems getting their players familiar with each other because they got new playbooks and stuff like that. It's going to really affect teams that's young. A lot of young teams, but the veteran teams like Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and the other team that's out there that's older will probably adapt better. New England. For instance.
Now, Mike, your Redskins, I get the vibe that it's more youth-oriented. How do you see the younger guys coming in and dealing with this, this post-lockout situation?
Well, I think for teams like the Redskins, who've had so much of a changeover in the offseason in terms of personnel or heading into, when both sides return, it's going to affect them more. Teams like the Redskins, and the Redskins have become much younger. And teams with a lot of youth on them, they don't have as much time to prepare. They may not get chances to make the team. They may not get enough playing time during the preseason. At the same time, I'm just happy that both sides came to this agreement. I knew all along that there would be an agreement by the start of training camp. And both sides are too intelligent to just let it fly by.
Yeah, way too intelligent, especially when it comes to the greenback.
Exactly. Money talks.
Yes. All right. Well, now we're fully into lockout. Post-lockout. We don't have to say that word anymore unless you're dealing with the NBA. So that's another show. Let's talk and really get into the fantasy aspect of this. I have been noticing the last several years that the running backs are just coming. We've seen a huge rise in running backs. Mike, granted, Redskins had Clint Portis, and now they're going beyond that and getting new people. How do you view the rise of the running back, in a fantasy sense?
I think that the running backs are so important because they produce so many fantasy points, maybe even more so than quarterbacks in a lot of leagues. So they're extremely vital to winning. I was looking at NFL.com. 7 of the top 8 players ranked are running backs. They are so critical. You can't avoid an Aaron Rodgers, who is number 5, or Michael Vick, number 9. Those guys, Tom Brady, and the receivers are critical as well. But you've got to put a lot of emphasis on the backs.
Okay. Well, do you feel that is the quarterback value dropping? Because I feel that they produce a lot, but really, are they really productive a lot?
I don't think so. I think you get a quarterback such as like a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, they're going to put up at least 24, 30 points offensively. You know what I'm saying? And that's right there in itself, that lets you know you need those type of quarterbacks. So you got to get a diamond in the rough like them, always.
Now, what about the wide receivers? Because granted, they're like really a small few that could be, a good runner in addition to being a great receiver. But do you feel that even their value is kind of a question mark?
Somebody like a flex player?
Yeah.
It depends. Say, I guess Reggie Bush. He could be listed as a wide receiver and a running back. Same with the guy Dexter McCluster in Kansas City. So when you get guys like that, you got to figure out how their value is going to be on the field when they're on the field. If you're going to throw the ball, they're going to be catching in the rounds, how you going to get your points for them. So like what I do is I try to get wide receivers that I know typically probably won't get that much notoriety throughout the game, but they the ones catch touchdowns.
Okay. Now, let's say in the actual game itself, Mike, is the running back, really the major emphasis now in football? Than the quarterback. Back in the day, back in the 80s, it's like you got to have a top-notch quarterback. I mean, they created its own club for crying out loud. Mm-hmm. Now, is it now the time for the running back now?
I think so. I think that the running backs get so many touches during the game, even though it's mostly a pass-oriented game, that the running back is emphasized so much and can score so many points for you as a fantasy owner.
Okay. Well, I feel we got a good understanding of where the running backs are, so why don't we get into our triple S's, studs, sleepers, and stinkers. I'm going to start with this. Granted, we just talked about running backs, but I still feel like this quarterback can play running back if he wanted to. I still think Michael Vick is a hot stud because, like you said earlier, he's multidimensional. He can throw, he can get you touchdowns through passing, but he also can run. And I think that's what now is a lot of fantasy owners are looking for, is that dueling threat. And Michael Vick is that type of person who can do that. He can give you a good 100-yard game, and that's extra bonus points for a lot of teams. So I'm going with the stud on that one, Michael Vick. Well, who's your top stud?
Calvin Johnson, Megatron, man. Detroit Lions, man.
So Lions are. I'm hearing a lot of rumble about the Lions. So why Calvin Johnson?
Last year, I'm basing off what he did last year, and with a quarterback issue with Radford being injured, Stafford, being injured last year, and him able to have to come in there and still be able to get 16 touchdowns. So
he's basically the man.
He's the man. Him and Larry Fitzgerald, they could be a tied stud position.
Okay. Mike, who's your stud?
First of all, I want to say wide receivers are vital. You'd go with like a Roddy White as well. I mean, he's going to do great this year. My stud is Adrian Peterson. Yeah. 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. I think he's going to have a great year this year. I watched him in a preseason game recently against the Cowboys. The guy looked like he hadn't lost a step. In terms of Michael Vick, I do not agree with you that he is multidimensional, but I don't think he's going to be doing as many things this year as he did last year. I think defenses have kind of figured him out, as evidenced by what happened in the playoff game against the Packers last year.
Okay, we'll see.
Time will tell.
Yes, time will tell. What's your sleeper pick, Mike?
My sleeper pick is a Redskin. Running? You're surprised, aren't you?
I'm very surprised. Who is it this time?
Running back Tim Hightower. Okay, through the first 3 preseason games, 170 yards, number 3 in the league, 6.8 yards per carry. And in Mike Shanahan's systems over the years, he has had so much success with running backs. Terrell Davis, Clinton Portis. I think Hightower is going to be the guy this year. And it looks like Ryan Terrain is not going to be playing, at least early in the season. He may even be cut. So I think Hightower is the guy to focus on in terms of a sleeper. Also, you can't ignore Rashard Mendenhall on the Steelers or Sam Bradford. I'm really impressed with the Rams quarterback.
Okay. Well,
my sleeper is going to be Danny Amendola for the St. Louis Rams. Comparing him to Wes Welker, and last year he came on with all the injuries that the Rams had at wide receiver. And I can see him catching those touchdowns, like I was saying, an insignificant wide receiver on the team without a big name, but he's somebody who will probably catch most of the touchdown passes in short yardage situations. Okay. And also, let me just add, my other 2 sleepers will be Josh Freeman of Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah, he's coming up on our team. So.
And Colt McCoy for the Colts.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah. For the
Browns.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's that Colt thing. Technically, the Colts do need a quarterback, so why not?
Colt McCoy for the Browns.
All right, I'm going to go with Mark Ingram of the Saints. He's new, he's young, and he's a bigger back than, since they let go Reggie Bush. So he's coming in, being very strong and dominant. So I think he'll be a good replacement for the Saints. Sneaker-wise, I had a huge list, but I'm going for the main one here. And the main one I really think is Peyton Manning. I just feel that he is completely carrying the Colts. But I think, his line is getting old. His receivers are getting old. He's just not capable of carrying his team another year. And sadly, he's not going to be starting this year, so his streak ends. So I'm going with the Colts. Quickly, who's your stinker?
Well, first of all, Peyton Manning is on my list. Tom Brady,
Oh.
I think, well, he's been up and down in recent years. You don't really know what you're going to get from him. I think a lot of it is going to be based on the Patriots' offensive line, because Brady is a pocket quarterback, so it's going to be a major factor. Also, I'm sorry to say, Michael Vick is a stinker of mine.
It's the Redskins in there.
No.
I understand. What's your stinker?
Peyton Hillis.
And
The cover of Madden. That's all I got to say.
That's all you have to say. Hey, if you're on the cover, Madden, you're done. All right. Why don't we get quickly into these 4 games of the first month of the season? Saints, Packers. Who you got winning in the opening night?
Packers.
Ooh, Packers. And who you got?
Packers.
Oh, it's always the Packers. I mean, the last two Super Bowl champions.
Saints are too one-dimensional.
Are the Packers at home?
And they're home.
Oh, come on now. Rings?
They're
Gonna get their rings that night too?
Saints are they're too much of a pass-oriented team. I think that the Packers have much more balance. Ryan Grant, Donald Driver, those guys. I mean, and of course Rodgers. You know, you have Drew Brees with the Saints, but I think it's the Packers.
All right, I've been beaten down. I'll go with the Pack. So opening night. Now, next game is I see is the Colts and Browns, and Browns are on a good uprise. And Colts, like I said earlier, I mean, without Peyton, they're nothing. So, Mike, who do you see winning that?
I'm going with the Browns.
Okay.
They've looked good thus far, and back to the issue we were discussing earlier, Peyton Manning. I don't. Obviously, the Colts are not as good without Peyton Manning. Even if he's there, he may not be 100%.
It's dissension on the coach already with the wide receiver Reggie Wayne said about the fact they signed Curry Collins. I'm going with the Browns.
All right. So, trifecta, the Browns. So, Falcons, Buccaneers. This could be a new hot rivalry down in the NFC South. Who you got going?
Falcons, man.
Oh, APL for you. Mike?
I'm going with the Bucs. I like Josh Freeman a lot.
Oh.
Just like you said, I think he's really up and coming. He's going to be among the elite quarterbacks in the NFL in the coming years, if not sooner.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with the Falcons. They're a veteran team. They got a little taste of the playoffs. Sadly, it was short, but they realized it's like, look, we have a chance here, so I'm going to stick with go with the ATL and see them beating out the Buccaneers. Lastly, perfectly enough, I've been seeing these for years, Skins and Rams going at it with each other. Who you got going for this one? And enough said.
Statement game, Redskins. Statement game.
Statement game? I'm going with St. Louis. I just think that the Rams, Redskins, I think they're coming, really got good high emotion. It look like they're trying to get their own, but they're still young. And the Rams, they're young too, but they had a very good, surgence towards the end of the year.
They did.
And pretty much, granted, the NFC West is a weak division anyway. But I think they're going to build off from last year and try to carry it into this year. And again, against a team like the Redskins, who are still trying to figure out who they are, I think it's a team that they can beat. So
I think this is going to be one of the surprise games by the Redskins.
Yeah.
There'll be several surprises throughout the season.
Yes, several.
By the Redskins.
So
Stamp that.
yes.
I mean, positive surprise.
Yes.
Positive, okay,
Yes.
stick with that. All right, gentlemen. Thank you again for giving me all this crazy information on this crazy year of the NFL. So when we come back, we have a Fantasy World Girl interview for you.
Hi everybody, this is Tiffany Parker, Miss Maryland, United States 2011, and you are watching Fantasy Sports News and World Report, so stay tuned.
Facing a change of status can be confusing for any service member. Call to active duty, relocation, discharge, retirement, they all have their challenges.
Hello.
But when a service member is also receiving mental health treatment, the challenges multiply. How do I get started with my new care provider? What support services will be available in my new location? Who can I turn to in an emergency? The In Transition program can answer these and many other questions. Service members in the program receive a personal coach who can offer access to important resources and encourage the service member to start and stay on track with their new provider. All of which helps maintain continuity of care when the service member may need it most. So, if you or someone you know needs a little help navigating the maze, visit www.health.mil/intransition or call 800-424-7877 in the U.S.
Hi, I'm Fantasy Sports World Girl April, and welcome back to the second half of Fantasy Sports News and World Report.
All right, we are with Miss Maryland, United States 2011, Tiffany Parker. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful.
Tell us about this journey that you started. How did it all get started? Because when I read your bio, you kind of really wasn't into this pageantry.
It's such a funny story. I think just coming up, my mom always had me in all types of activities that she could think of, and that just kind of grew into me wanting to be outgoing, wanting to be out in the community and want to do great things. But really the whole pageant thing really took hold of me when I was in college. I competed in my first pageant and I won. It was a fraternity pageant on campus, but that just kind of opened my eyes up to the whole world of competition and all of the great things that I could accomplish. But I actually decided to take my first national, or do my first national pageant when I was in Tennessee, and I applied for the title of Miss Globe. I ended up moving to Maryland, and I took my first national title as Miss Maryland Globe 2009. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a long journey, but it's been one that's very worthwhile.
Let's talk about the pageantry itself.
Okay.
Granted, there's been good things and some bad things. With your experience so far, how's that? Is it there more bad than good, or what?
You know what? Pageants do tend to get a bad rap, especially when you're watching reality TV. And some shows will remain nameless because I don't want to put anybody on blast, but that does give people a very negative and improper connotation of what pageants stand for. And really, for me, I am what I consider a state delegate, and I'm a state ambassador, so I'm really out in my community. And I've been able to make my pageant a very positive experience. So if you have that kind of mindset to make it what you want it for the year, you shouldn't really have a negative experience with it.
Now, let's start with the day that you were announced.
Okay.
Tell us how that felt.
I was so excited, a little bit unnerved because in my case I had to go before a committee. They didn't actually have a state pageant, so it was a kind of a delegate at large situation. But there were still 3 other girls that competed, so I still had to submit my application. I still had to wait to be accepted. So the whole time I was kind of unnervy. I was like, okay, will I get it? Will I continue on to carry on this so-called legacy of the Tiffany Parker brand, or will this be the end of my story? So I was actually in Miami when I got the call that I was, and it was my birthday. It was October 2nd, and they gave me the call that I was Miss Maryland, United States 2011.
Now, tell us about Tiffany Parker. Before, Miss Maryland, United States, what is she?
I'm definitely a glam girl at heart. I love stilettos, I love makeup, I love hair, I love all things that are girly. But at my heart and my soul, I'm definitely a woman that loves giving back to my community. I love really being able to stand for something positive, especially in my own personal African American community, and have little black girls be able to look up to me. So that's really what Tiffany Parker is all about.
Now, granted, this is fantasy sports. Now, are you into sports, or because granted, we're in a sports bar right now?
Sports bar. It's so funny. Buffalo Wild Wings being one of my sponsors in the pageant, and I'm not gonna say that I am an avid every day or every week watcher, but NBA championship, NFL, Super Bowl, you can count me in for the block. So.
Now, were you watching the NBA finals this week? Okay, now was that mean that you were supporting someone?
Was this one of those like Harry Harrington on stage moments where I'm like, I saw a little bit of them, but I'm not even going. Sorry.
Hey, not many people
My
are.
publicist did, so he can give you like all the insight on what took care of the finals. Because there were times I was trying to get in touch with him, and he told me the game was on.
Okay, put him on blast. All right. What is it that you're going to be bringing in Vegas? Because in next month you'll be going to the main show. So what are you going to bring during that main show?
I think, well, the biggest thing that I do want to bring to the table is just genuineness. I want everyone to really be able to see who I am. I'm more than just being a pretty face. I'm more than a young woman that's wearing a crown. I want everybody to really get a real good feel for who I am and how I can also rock a pair of stilettos as easily as I can rock a business suit, you know. So I really want them to see the light that I have inside and my spontaneity and my spunk, but that I'm really just a genuine, loving person.
Now, with all your friends and family here, giving you support, going away, is that what's keeping you grounded? Is that what's keeping you centered?
Definitely. I really have a great support system around me. I have to always bring it back to them because there are times when I'm just like so unraveled and I'm like, can I really do this? And then of course I take it back to them and they're always around me saying, Tiffany, you know, you've made it this far. Look at everything that you've accomplished. There's no telling how far you can take this dream. It's really up to you. So when I think about that and put that in perspective, I really feel like I have the whole world ahead of me and everything is just right in the palm of my hands.
What is it that it's going to take for you to win this?
I really feel that just me being calm and confident. That's all that I really feel is going to take because I have as great a chance as any other contestant of being on top. So just bringing my A game, and I think what makes you confident is just that belief in yourself. As long as I have that, I know I'm gonna come out on top.
Now we met during the bridal fanfare, and it was like somehow you were in your comfort zone. This is like, wait a minute, she's enjoying herself. Now, is fashion going to be the fallback for you once this is all over?
I feel like I come alive when I'm on a runway. So any opportunity that I have to throw on an avant-garde piece and get my hair and makeup done, I'm all for it. You know, I feel like this is all within my realm. I do want to pursue specific goals within the industry. I would love to go overseas. I would love to do a fashion show in Paris and Milan, of course. Send it up to the guy. But and I would also love to one day have my own beauty product endorsement. I know this might sound corny, but I remember being a little girl walking in the drugstore and always seeing the pretty black woman on the perm box and saying like, wow, I would love for that to one day be me. So I'm just really just waiting for that opportunity to come along next.
Now, let's say this. If you don't win, how would you feel? All right, enough said there. But
No. You know, because I've been thinking about that too. And I look at, it's so funny, I was watching the Miss USA pageant a few weeks ago. And one of my top contestants, she made it right there. And she ended up being the fourth runner-up. And I was like, you know what? I know everybody is going to say to her, did a good job. But I would be upset at that point. I would be mad because I worked hard. But, you know, bringing it all back to me, first of all, I'm just going to be so thankful for the opportunity to walk across that stage and showcase my true talents. That's first and foremost. But secondly, I don't know. I'm just going to be happy to be there.
what are you going to do when you win?
When I win, my whole goal is to take what I've been able to accomplish on a regional level and take it to a national level. I was so blessed to be able to partner up with a major cosmetics company this year, Sephora, and produce the Pamper Party, as well as get them on board to be my official makeup artist. So I would love to do a national tour where we're going into schools and awarding girls who have performed at their highest level with perfect attendance and a perfect GPA, and then giving them surprise makeovers. I would love to take that like across the 50 states of the United States of America.
All right, last question. All right, a lot of people are going to be asking you this. Is this all believable? You know, is it really going to be for you to say, hey, I'm doing this for, is it for you or is this for the community? Because a lot of people believe that pageantry is very self-centered. You know, what really is being a pageant person all about?
You know what? I'm so thankful that you asked me that question, because even for people that don't ask it, you can kind of sense it's either 50-50. They love you or they I'm not gonna say they hate you, but they won't be coming over for dinner. So, but what I really wanted my year to stand for was more than just being a pretty face and showing up and having a crown. And that's really why I created my weekly editorial called Being Miss Maryland. So people get to see what it's like. You know, you can't really go out and be genuine in the community and people not sense that. You know, you can't just be a fake facade and a smile, and people that you're trying to touch won't be able to see through that. So I think for anybody that is doing it for the wrong reasons, it's going to show through. But for me and myself, I know that Tiffany Parker has embarked on this journey to reach a deeper level of myself and feel that I can do it. And that's what I want to encourage other young women to do. Don't just look at the superficial part of what people say pageants are. Dig deep inside and you meet so many great and wonderful people and you're exposed to so many things. I would never discount it.
Tiffany, I hope you do great in Vegas. And I wish you all the luck. We have here, it's not only you're not Miss Maryland, you are now our officially Fantasy Sports World Gold for the summer.
So, for the summer. Yeah. I want to say one more thing. I'm not just Miss Maryland, I'm your Miss Maryland. I'm the people's Miss Maryland. I'm the people's champ.
All right, we got the Rock here, so or Miss Rockette. So Tiffany, thank you very much. And enjoy yourself, and I hope you do well in your future.